and sell the CD set.
Yeah,
You know?
sure.
That way, if the person, no one buys it, you don't waste any time, any money, or anything creating the product. You got to
Do another one.
Yeah, exactly. Move on to the next one. Refund the 5 people who did buy, and go to the next one.
Sure, it's worth pointing out that you know, we're settling in on working with people with lists. And here's where I kind of exit my depth, but maybe somebody else can speak on it. I mean, you could do this same thing. Say you have an onion farmer, just for a funny, you know, widget example. Say you have an onion farmer who's really good, okay? Neither he nor you has a list, okay? Assuming that there's a market for onion farming. You could hey, potato guns, any questions? You could pay-per-click your way into registrations for this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Back, because one thing before I go into a market, and this is something again that I learned from Tom, is I like to split test other people's offers and see what's going to work first before I go into a market. So as Tom was saying earlier when he talked about ClickBank research, I'll go in and I'll look at some of the ClickBank products that are top sellers, and I will create a gateway page, a short squeeze page, what you guys call. And what we'll do is we'll split test competitors in these markets, and when they opt in, it'll split test, let's say 2, 3, 4 competitors. And what you're doing is you're getting some data because you're running a survey on there. So you're asking some questions to find out about this market. What you're going to do, and this is kind of ClickBank arbitrage, so to speak, is you're going to take information that you're learning in the surveys, and you're going to take the winning sales letter. Now you know the control letter, the letter that you have to beat. You've got survey data that helps you with your market research. Not only that, but you're recouping some of your ad budget in your testing process by doing it this way. So it's a really good way to research markets that are out been established.
I'll tell you another way to research markets. You talk about going to bookstores. Just go in, get the niche publications, look at the DR, the direct response guys that are in there, call the publication, get them to overnight you a media kit with 3 or 4 back issues, and see which of those guys are in there consistently, because they're paying money to be in there.
Right.
And they're not going to be in there if it's not working. And that's real important, because you got people voting with their wallets.
Paying a couple dollars to be in there either.
They're paying a decent amount of money, especially if it's bad marketing. Then you know that it's a responsive list because they're responding to crappy marketing and they're still making money. So if you take good marketing into that, it's multiplied.
So again, you're split testing other people's ideas. They've already paid the money to test different ads in some cases.
Yeah, or it's, the market is so responsive that the first thing they threw out worked, and they're continuing to do it, because as long as they're measuring it, and that's what's important, it's a DRI, they're measuring it, you can see that it's working.
I just want to say something about surveys, because I really just want to drive this home. Tom and I have had this conversation many, many times, and that is that we go into markets, we've done our research, we think we know a lot about these markets. I'll tell you guys what, every time we do a survey, we learn something new, we learn something we didn't know. Sometimes it takes us away from the product altogether into another completely different realm. Sometimes we think that the headline we wrote is the headline that we're going to use for this product. No way. The market research, the data that we accumulate from doing this stuff really helps us to lead where we're going with our product ideas and our sales process and everything. It really is the basis for every market we go into. We will not go into a market without conducting market research and asking people what they want. Owning the credit cards. People own the credit cards.
I wanted to bring it back to something that I think is really important with regard to teleseminars, and that is to survey the audience in advance. Because when you do the follow-ups and the follow-ons and the call reminders, you're going to want to say, you know, we have, you know, Joe Jenkins, the top onion farmer on earth, is going to address your, bitter onion bug.
Onion farming without tears.
Right, exactly.
Green or yellow, which is most profitable.
But the whole point is we know these because we had, 33% of our respondents, want to not cry when they sow their crop. Or we know what's, and this is all tongue-in-cheek, but from the surveys, the survey, in my opinion, should be right there at the initial registration. What's your most pressing question about onion farming? What's your biggest concern about onion farming? And then that helps steer the content. It helps steer the bullets to push the content.
Helps you write your sales letter, helps you write.
You just hit on that. Helps produce your expert.
It's really important to find out, and I loved how Mandosian did it, where it's the single
What is the single
Single biggest
largest question you have about onion farming? Now, I don't want to know your top 10 questions. What I want to know is 100 people's single most important question. And from that, I will then deduce what the most, because you're going to get, if you ask 100 people what their most important question is in a niche, you can get 20 or 30 have the same answer. Okay, and then you'll maybe get 5 or 10 with the same answer. That top tier, that's what you want to focus on because that's what people want to know. And ideally, that's what you want the product that you're going to be pitching at the end to be about.
And it becomes scientific because it becomes scientific because you don't have to know jack. You don't have to know anything about.
It's better if you don't.
Right, because when you get your 300, 400, 500 responses, and you know that statistically 23.7% don't like the bitter onion bug, and 17.6% want an onion farm without tears, and so on. And we're kidding, but the point is, you don't have to make anything up. You know just what your copy needs to say statistically to address the market right where it stands.
And by the way, you also know now you've got a list and you give this to the expert and say, by the way, here's what we're going to cover.
Yeah,
we know for fact.
Absolutely. So let's wrap that up. So Gateway Magic can do the survey for you, or there's AskDatabase.com, the SurveyMonkey.com, and in your cPanel, if you have Fantastico, they now have free survey software. So whatever it is, but you find out, like Jonathan said, what's your single biggest question you have about niche, whatever.